Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Praveen Krishna Dev, who is the co-founder of Backspace Tech, which is a banking solution in new era of SaaS. Hi, Praveen. Welcome to ELI.
Hi, Priya. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Great.
So, Praveen, tell us a bit about yourself, your background prior to entrepreneurship, and give us a context on what is Backspace Tech. And to start with, also tell us what is the meaning behind the name. How did you come up with the name Backspace Tech?
Sure. So myself, Praveen. So before getting into my background, I just want to tell my co-founder's name as well. So one is Vishwanath. So I handle the execution. Vishwanath is co-founder come CTO, and Karthik is like co-founder come CEO. So we're all like friends in this age. I say like 30 plus years of friendship. We know each other since our kindergarten. Like that's how the journey started. So I'm basically a civil engineer. Then I did my master's in financial management. So before Backspace, see what I'll say, like this is like kind of a third startup. We started something in the year of 2014. It was called GreazIt, where it was a full stack automobile application where in case if you're stuck on a road with a broken vehicle, you'll find immediate tow service, mechanic shop, workshops like Redbus. You can go and book slots and leave your vehicle and everything. We launched the beta version in Play Store. We almost tried for 1 year. Then we got to know we were so ahead of time. Like at that time, cloud support was not there in India. Though pre-geo times, right? So there was no much internet connectivity, and we had to host physical servers, which was costing around like 1 to 1.5 lakhs or 2 lakhs per month or however it is. So Tabito, like at that time, even the funding was not that big and VC culture was there, but we are not much aware or something. And we are all like early kids, like 23, 24 years old, just came out of college and started working, and we were not earning much, right? And we had a lot of baggages, family, they like we all had girlfriends, we had to get married soon, like a lot of stuff was it. So after a year of struggle, we got to know this is not the right time. Then we made a full stop there, and we started focusing on the careers, like individually. Like I was here, then I went to Qatar, and I was working for Chennai Metro here. Then I went to Qatar and I worked for Qatar Metro. Then I almost worked for Qatar Rail government for almost 1 year. I was there in Qatar for almost six and a half years. So meanwhile, by 2018, we got married. We all, like we in the sense, myself, my co-founders, everyone got married. We slowly reduced our baggages, like एक एक करके we just started removing families, commitments, everything. We tried to settle each and every thing of life. Then 2018, myself and Karthik started a company called Swan Dewatering Systems. So
Mhm.
it is completely into civil where we do dewatering works as a service. So it's construction dewatering. At the time when we spoke with Vishwa, so Vishwa was into BFSI. So he was diving into the works, and he said he needs some more time to get out of work and get into entrepreneurship. Then we thought like, okay, let's start something small so that in future we can think in a bigger aspect or whatever it is. So 2018 we started something, and it is like called Swan Dewatering Systems, as I told you before. So it is completely a bootstrap venture where I would proudly say in like almost 5 plus years of time, now we are one among top 5 companies in India. So currently I'm not taking care of the company, but we founded it, right? So it's like completely a self-driven mode it is, right? So in 2020 late, we got to know that company is gonna run. It's completely a word of mouth driven business, and it really don't require us our complete time there. So I decided to come back. So Karthik started here. I was supporting him financially and technically from Qatar. So I used to travel every year, like almost 5, 6 times, and stay with him for 10, 15 days. Then we started building that business in that way. So from there, by 2020, I decided to come back. Then I called Vishwa and I told him like we have to think in a bigger aspect and let's get back to the tech dream which we had. So this is like a small business which we are operating. So let's get into the bigger vision. So we all believe like we all carry the same vision. So like when we used to drive cycles, uh, we sit and used to dream about things like I need to buy this kind of car. I need, and these are the guys like, yeah, we'll buy it. It's not that someone who come and cross question, we'll take care, we'll see that at that age or what. It was not the right thing. They're like chatti batti those. Even we choose life partners after comparing a lot of things, but these are like, we know each other like very small age. There was no like requirements or nothing between us. It's like pure friendship. So that was the vision we carried. And so then Vishwa gave me a pitch when I came back, and Vishwa gave me a pitch. This was the thing. At the time, he was working in a company. He told, then we registered the company called Backspace in 2020. So Backspace, the name came from that. So our initial thought process is like, so banking systems, we're all like ahead, like completely. If you see, India is ahead than many other nations in banking system. But if you see the back end of banks, there are still a lot of legacy technologies behind.
Right.
So our basic aim was, so there should be a name which is easy, catchy, and people should remember. And it should not be some like out of context, out of box. So ऐसे हम ढूंढ रहे थे inside laptop what we can find. Then we were thinking like the aspect. So our primary motto is we want to build the back end of banks. It's not like something. So we want to erase the legacy in banking system and create something new. So there are two buttons to remove words. One is like backspace, other one is delete. But delete, when we remove, backspace is used to rewrite things. So that's why the name came Backspace, and it's like erase history and create innovation with the tagline. So that's how the whole journey started. And after 2020, we decided to bootstrap Backspace. So we thought we had some funds and everything. We tried to hire freelancers. We spoke to a lot of product development companies. Then lately, by 2021, mid or lately, we got to know this is a highly scalable business, and the TAM is so big. It apna hath se nahi hoga. Like it will be tough. It's not like that it won't be. It's not at all possible. It is tough, and we cannot reach or we cannot penetrate the market as far as fast as like a VC funded or anyone funded company than a bootstrap, because we already run a bootstrap company and we know how hard it's to handle the finances when the money is not around, right? So that's how the whole journey started. In 2022, we came out and we asked Vishwa to resign, and he came out. And coming back, so Vishwa was having similar kind of experience, almost 10 years building similar kind of products for banks like Global Payments, HSBC, Pfizer, First Data, Saudi Arabian British Bank. And from there, we got this idea. So yeah, that's how 2022 we came out. We met first the founders of M2P. From there, the journey started. When we started validating the idea, then we started validating the product. Then we analyzed whether if we build a product, the market will consume this product. Once we got cleared with everything, we raised funds and we started fully operations from last August. So that's how the whole journey is. Right. So if you want me to get into what we are building.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So when you build a product company, the first thing we talk about is what is it that you are solving for, the problem statement. So tell us, because banking is such a huge, they have a lot of problems, and usually when fintechs they start with the front end problem. They solve for front end, but you have targeted the back end, which is a massive things, and the change is not so easy. Banks are not very willing to replace their back end with something new. So tell us a bit about the problem statement. What is it you are solving for?
Change is the only not change. Like for sure, there is change required in everything, right? So the problem, so we discussed, I iterated a lot of ideas. Like even I was there in Qatar, we discussed about a lot of remittance and different ideas. Then we stick down with chargebacks and dispute management. The only reason is, so to precisely say, we are the first one to build a global product on chargebacks and dispute management. So what is this chargebacks and dispute management? I'll come to it. So post a transaction, if there is a dispute, like dispute in the sense, if there is a fraud or double payment, or you made an online purchase and you applied for a refund, and if a merchant is denying for a refund and you want to get the money back, you have to go and tell your bank that I want that money back. You have to charge back from the merchant. That's how the chargeback is, right? So this is how the chargeback works. So it's a big life cycle. So how it is, so if you want to get a chargeback or if you want to raise a dispute, you will call your bank through IVR or whatever the means it is. You try to raise a complaint, or else you can have a mobile banking application. Maybe you can raise a dispute there. But end of the day, it triggers as an email and goes to a customer support. From there, they will take a complaint. If that is a consumer dispute, they will hold on for 7 days. They will ask you for wait for 3 days or 7 days or 14 days, depending on the TAT or the issue. Then you have to call back and tell them if the money is not processed, you want to raise a chargeback. Then they will get their problem into the dispute analyst, where he analyzes the situation and he will log in into the network. Network is nothing but Visa, MasterCard, NPCI, RuPay, whoever the players. If it is UPI, it is NPCI. They will log in there. They will create a dispute there. From there, it will be taken by an acquiring bank's dispute analyst. Acquiring bank is nothing but the bank which provide the POS machine. So we go and swipe our cards, right? So that machine is called POS machine. So or else the QR code provider. So there is a payment aggregator like Bharat Pay, PoPay, or Phone Pay, whoever it is, and they are linked with the bank, nothing but an acquiring bank. So their analyst will take it from there. It goes to their customer support, then to the merchant, and the merchant has to respond back whether he's accepting the chargeback or not accepting the chargeback. The whole way the travel comes. So different levels: chargeback, pre-arbitration, arbitration. So the whole process, if you see, it is happening completely in a manual way. Right. So in 2020, RBI came up with a mandate called ODR, Online Dispute Resolution. Whereas what it is saying is like, as a customer, it should be easy to raise a dispute, as well as there should be a system behind to handle the disputes in real time. That's what exactly we are solving. So we are building a product in the sense, for example, if you say globally, there are banks, as I told you, Vishwa was building for banks, right? So these banks used to give these products, I won't say it's a software, okay? So they give it, they hire like third parties like TCS, Wipro, Capgemini to build similar kind of products. They hire them as a third party and they'll ask them to build an in-house software for them, which will cost easily around like $8 to $10 million, where the building time will easily take 2 to 3 years. Right. Because they have to hire the proper resource and do everything. So the whole idea was, why can't we give this in a SaaS so that it will be easily affordable for the banks, or moreover, like faster GTM. They don't need to wait for years to build a product, rather than depending or waiting for the service industry and believing the service industry. So if they have their own product, then system enhancement will happen. Not only in the payment space, even in the dispute space, it will expedite them to handle the disputes in real time, right? So that's how the whole idea came. Yeah. So that's what the problem we are solving. And if I deep dive more into the product, what we solve. So if I give my product to a bank, for example, as a customer, if you want to raise a dispute, you just go to the mobile banking, you can select the transaction, you can raise the dispute, product will capture it. It will automatically validate whether the dispute is like with certain questions from you. It will validate the dispute based on the reason codes or based on the evaluation criteria given by the network. It will file the case in the network itself without any manual intervention. So it is up to the bank to keep a make a checker action as well. For example, like bank ne decide kar diya, like for example, up to 10,000 rupees, they don't want dispute analyst to get involved. So if the value is more than 10,000 rupees, it is a high risk category. They want an analyst to get involved and take a decision. We can keep a make a checker action. So it is up to them to leverage the tech, whereas it will help, it will automate almost like 70 to 90% at the initial goal itself. So 70% automation is 100%, 70% is possible, 90% depending on the bank's business requirement or whatever it is. So when it comes to the acquiring side, so once they receive the case, they can connect the backend system of the networks. So when I say the networks, so in 2018 itself, Visa and MasterCard exposed their APIs to handle disputes in real time. But whereas in India, if you see, there is only like one bank who are using APIs, and remaining all of the banks are still doing a file batch system. Say they don't have connected to API, they are not connected to API. So we are the one and only product which is available in the market to help the banks to handle disputes in real time. So when it comes to acquirer, we'll connect the backend of the network through API, and we'll collect those dispute through APIs. Then we will validate it, and we can send it to the merchant through different communication channel, even through WhatsApp, and we can get the response, and it will be captured and it will be responded back to the network.
Got it.
That's how the process works.
Got it. So, curious to know, take us through the initial days. Like, how did you identify this problem in the first place? I mean, what was the process of when an entrepreneur thinks of building a product company? They first shortlist ideas and then see if you have the resources and all to make that product. So, how did you go about finding this idea in the first place? And then what all challenges did you have to face initially to integrate with all the banking systems and you solve a deep banking problem?
Yeah, true. So to answer your first question, so how did we finalize that this is the idea, but we are going to work or whatever it is? So thanks to Vishwa. So when we are discussing a lot of issues, the first thing what we thought is like, it will be hard to replace something which is already available, but it is comparatively easy to give a product rather than replacing. So when we are searching or when we are discussing about different ideas, they were like something available in the market which we are trying to fix. But particularly for chargeback and dispute, there was no product available in the market. So this space was completely empty and it is completely a new category. But the problem is so big in the sense, for example, in 2021, out of 51 trillion transaction, almost like 33.5 billion was reported as fraud. So fraud is like one type of dispute or something, right? So that's how we identified, and we got to know the TAM is so big, and this is the right product to start with. It's not like that we are going to only work on the area of chargeback and dispute management. So the first product from our end will be like chargebacks and dispute management. That's how it came in. And okay, when we started, so the initially our thought process was to bootstrap Backspace, right? As I've told you, because fund was not a big concern, and so we thought like, okay, money can be managed. When we build a right product, we can sell it in the market. So once we started slowly analyzing about the product, so before building, what we thought is we should validate the product, right? So like, we did a lot of research, we spoke to a lot of people, then we tried to validate when we spoke some of the known connects in US, whether they are willing to see the startups. So as you say, banks are like big enterprises. It's like, it is not an easy like small scale business or something to go and sell, right? So we want to ensure that the product will be used by someone. So we tried to validate that. We told them that we are trying to build something, and they were happy to see the product, right? Because there is a big space and big requirement, and they really want some change. It's not like banks are now, they are like welcoming the products in the market. Like everything is business, and that is a mandate already, and that is a requirement in the background. So that's how the process started. When we tried to bootstrap, we tried to hire people through freelancers. Then we got no, tech hire is not cheap. Tech hire is really costly, like, and it is. And to be very frank, we started our we registered the company Backspace in the Swan, the old company's office, which is like made of like a tin sheet. And when we hired some freelancers, they came in and we spoke to them. It was a lovely chat and everything. They went out to a juice shop and bought him a juice and all. Next day, he didn't pick the call. He just left. He was so enthusiastic and he liked everything. Whatever. Then we got to know the ambience. So now to get people attracted or get people to get into a startup, believe that this is gonna work, you need that presence, you need that office, you need that space and everything. Okay, then we decided, okay, so freelancing, so that's how freelancing works. Then we spoke to a lot of product companies. So when we tried to speak with them, before getting to know about the product or tech, they were just demanding money, right? They were not even discussing that what we want to build or what we want to use. they were not really ready for it. They just package, a package, a package, a package. Then when myself and Vishwa was discussing, then really had like different thought of tech to get involved. So we have a lot of open sources, we have lot and lots of platform available, and we really wanted to explore each and everything to build an amazing product, right? It's not like something a chota tool nahi hai. It is like it consists of a lot of things. When I explain you about product features, you'll get to know what other things we have. We really wanted to explore. We got to know like, okay, this is big, and okay, so let's build it. So before building, what to do? Validate. We started validating, then got to know, okay, these are the problems that we have. So if we should have good talent, good people, then we can get a good product. It is not like only founders soch liya and founders have thought and we can sit and build. No, it is not possible, right? So we went and approached and went and see the market, and we got to know, and people were ready and welcoming the product, and they were ready to fund. So that's how the whole journey started, and we raised the funds. And yeah, now we are like 22 plus team on roll and building it.
So you spoke about product features. Tell us what are the different features you have. Like one of the features you already mentioned, automating the chargeback system. What else you have, and what are the future goals? Because this is one problem you're solving, but one day you'll solve it for all the banks. What next?
Okay, so see this area itself is so big, right? For example, India itself has like more than 2,000 to 3,000 banks. Okay, and every bank, so whoever there in payments, whoever there process payment, they have this problem. So for sure, to solve like 100 banks, it will take quite a lot of time. And since it is a global product, solving this itself is a big problem. And if you ask me about the roadmap, and to be very sure, we have still that paper till 2025, 2045, what we want to do. Right? Next programs, but it will get updated based on the market requirement, of course, where we want to work. We want to explore blockchain, we wanted to explore remittance, we wanted to explore, like, there are different areas. It's not like end of the day, our main thing is like backend of banks. So it should be something that elevate the bank's operations or enhance the bank's backend to handle the latest tech or something, right? So product features. So as I told you, so if a customer wants to raise a dispute, right? So basically it connects to the CRM or the customer supports, enter into a complaint portal or whatever it is. So at present, what they do is like they just get the details, customer details, and try to create something. A manual presence is required to validate that, right? We are getting in an AI, and before AI, I'll come. We have a workflow engine, we have a business rule set, or we have a core rule set there. Whereas once you select a transaction, based on the transaction, for example, it is a card present environment or card not present, whether it is in commercial online banking or non-online banking, whether it is card payment or UPI payment. So by fetching these details, questions will be automatically populated based on the network requirement. So there is a rule engine which will automate the scenarios, which I've told you earlier. Next, when it comes to a case management, so for example, as a present, for example, a big bank is having around 50 to 100 analyst team to handle disputes. And there is a manager sitting and assigning the cases, assign the cases to people. Like for example, like managers to be okay, bed case. So these are the cases. We have received 100 cases today, 1,000 cases today, and we are manually assigning to each and every people. That's so I have built an AI model which will automatically assign the cases based on people's skill set, people's availability, people's competency, everything. So it's simple. Once the case comes, for example, I'm good at chargeback, you're good at arbitration. Based on your skill set, the case will get assigned. So we have built an AI model there. So that's other feature. When you see about communication channel, we have integrated even WhatsApp. For example, if there is a small merchant who's using an UPI, he's unable to respond through an email or something. He'll always get to call and respond back. But if you see, like if a person is having UPI, most of the people have WhatsApp in their phone. So even through WhatsApp, they can respond back to a chargeback if a bank or PG is willing to do that, right? If they want to reject, they can reject and capture a invoice picture and they can send it back, where the product is capable to get that form or image or whatever it is, process it and give the response to the network automatically, right? And when I am was saying about AI, we are actually building an analyst. For example, you have a dispute on an Amazon purchase or something, and you have to provide a document for the consumer dispute, right? So once you upload the document, the AI in the product will analyze the document, check the parameters, and it will validate based on the rules engine, and it will automatically capture the document and file it in the network without any manual presence. So um, there are like a lot of people involved, and banks are unable to utilize their manpower properly in the segment. So we'll sit with them and we are helping them with the product to reduce the manforce and use them effectively with the system behind. That's what we're doing.
My final question, you have told us about the pain points, the problem statement, the solution, how you are solving it. Now tell us what is the current traction we have as a venture. Like how many banks are working with us, what is the average ticket size, how much revenue, etc.
So yeah, I'm coming to it. So in India, when we spoke, our investors are fintech founders, and so when we spoke to them, what I got to heard is like a minimum sales cycle with the bank is like 10 months, and the maximum cycle will take even 4 years, right? That's what the people used to say. So we started building in the month of August, and we were ready with the MEP1 in the month of December for the UPI module. So our product name is like Unified Dispute Management, right? So what we are trying to, it's resolution as a service. For example, it's a single platform which can handle UPI, which can handle cards, which will handle FASTags, which will handle any digital payment dispute. So if bank is getting a suit, they can have all products where it will handle everything. It is not like that it can handle only UPI, it can handle only cards, right? So that's the thing which we are focusing as a vertical SaaS or something. So we are in talks with top banks. So one bank, we are already in a stage of like we'll be getting into POC. So other banks, the POC call has been initiated. So other banks, we are in initial discussion phase, like almost like 3 to 4 banks, almost 5 banks we are in talks with. So, and we are closely working with networks. So one of the network have shown interest in a product. I really don't want to disclose the network's name, but I can tell, but I don't want to disclose unless things are very sure. So they liked our product because they know that is a big pain point here. Because for every, what the globally says, like for every $1 of dispute, the amount spent is like $1.5. Okay. So if you ask me about the ticket size, so what we heard, or when we spoke with a lot of bankers and research teams, the overhead expense, excluding the network charges, it costs around 400 to 500 rupees per dispute. Though it is like 10 rupees dispute or 100 rupees dispute. So the cost, because there's a customer support involved, there is an dispute analyst involved, there is a process involved, there are a lot of tools the banks are using to automate it or try to build it or try to file it, whatever it is. So we are trying to reduce almost like 1/4 of the cost per dispute. That's what if you see. And globally, if you ask, every development they spend easily around $8 to $10 million, if that is a big bank. And for year-on-year support, they spend almost around $2 to $3 million. And I would say like we will try to reduce like 1/3 of the price which they spend yearly as a product complete, where since it is a SaaS, we'll give the product and we will support them completely technically, as well as any regulatory upload, like any regulatory upload, any compliancy upload, like for example, any update from the RBI, any update from Visa, MasterCard, RuPay, we will do it as a patch in our product. So they can just sit and relax. No need to worry about any compliance update, and we'll make sure that is updated before the timeline ends. That's it.
Okay. Well, on this note, we have come to the closing part of the session. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Praveen. It was a pleasure to have you on our platform, and our best wishes for Backspace Tech.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Priya. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank
Same
you.
as well. Thank you.
Thank you.